Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we'll hear testimonials of experience from some diasporians. These include the author and publisher of a cookbook titled Taste of Tanzania. Please welcome Miss Miriam Kinonda, sorry. Next, from the development of for-profit clinics, Dr. Crispin Semakula. If you're here, please proceed. Dr. Julius Nyang'oro, who is here to speak on the challenges and rewards on writing the JK biography.
My name is Miriam Rose Kinunda. I'm the author of Taste of Tanzania cookbook. I've been receiving a lot of questions of how I got to write this book. Okay. Why I wrote this book and what made me write this book. I'm going to share with you first, maybe I'll take 2 minutes, a little history that I never shared with anybody because I never answered that question. So I think this is the right place to do that. Just like all of us, many of us come here as students. I went to Canada in 1990. As a student, I met my ex-husband. And that was one of my goals, actually, to be married and never to go back. So, and I promised my father I would only be married by a person who have PhD. So I think I managed to keep my promise. And since my ex-husband was my fellow African, being after we finished school, being a very educated man, thought I have to be a housewife. And as a young woman at that time, coming from Africa, when your husband requests something, you do. And I became a housewife. I finished my degree. I decided to use my degree for cooking and cleaning the house, which I believe I did a very good job. I raised my daughter and my stepdaughter and 2 children of my sister-in-law, who I homeschooled them. Right now, one of them finished Master's in Information Technology, another one is doing PhD in architecture. So being a housewife was not easy, basically, since I had to homeschool 2 kids myself. Basically, I went back to school because I need to study before I educate the kids. And having 2 kids, 2 girls who are fighting each other every day. At the same time, my ex-husband was involved in politics in Angola. In 1991, he went to Angola to run for presidency. Basically, he was looking for a woman who will fit his status in politics. So when my friend introduced me to him, told me, you'll be just perfect for a politician's wife because you're charming, you love to cook, you talk to everybody, you will really help his career. So I went into a marriage, I knew what I was supposed to do, and I did it good. But when your wife will homestay mom, you get bored, basically. I only spoke to people when I accompanied my ex-husband to conferences. That was the biggest outing for me. And second thing, entertaining. Because of his status in his career, I learned my goal is to entertain his friends, colleagues, to help his career. Part of that, I did a lot of cooking. A lot of cooking. Standing the whole day, prepare dinner for evening, they come, they eat, they enjoy next day, another dinner. So, of course, being a Tanzanian, I will only prepare Tanzanian food because, I didn't want to embarrass myself. Try to cook some American or Western food. And most of the guests enjoy the food. They will ask me for recipes. I will write them down and I will send to them. That kept going until I had a lot of recipes. Also, because I was glad also my ex was a professor, so I was taking classes in the evening about web developing and computer science. That was my special time, my alone time. Even if I was a housewife, but I'm a very career-oriented, I just had to do what I had to do as a wife. So I decided to take evening classes all the time. 2004, when he was sent to work in Spain, I was extremely bored. The kids catch up with Spanish very quickly, to the point where they come home and speak to me in Spanish. I tried to learn Spanish, I failed tremendously. So I decided to start a website. At that time, I called the website miriammalakiash.com, Malakiash being the name of my ex-husband. And I started posting recipe because I felt like I was doing something other than taking care of the kids and a very busy husband. And that's how I started. That's how it got me here. I kept writing recipes 2004. And then 2006, I started blogging. I moved from website. People don't know the difference of blogs and websites. So I moved to blogging. And I think there's a lady from Voice of America who called me to ask her an interview. Khadija Riyama, yes. She interviewed me in 2006, and a few media in Tanzania could hear that, so I kind of got a good follower at that time. And that's the time when also I realized my marriage was not working. I think I was tired to be a follower. I decided to go back to school. I went to do my master's in IT. I mean, being a housewife for years, I really seeing my husband getting good salary. I said, oh, you know what, I'm going to make a good salary too. So I went back to school. It was tough. Going to school, studying, having a child, going to court next day for child support. I'm sure some of you have gone through that. And spend 8 hours of night crying while my marriage didn't work. But I finished. But while I'm doing all that, I still continue writing about recipes. But there's a secret about that. When I finished high school, I wanted to be a chef in Nairobi. I applied the hotel management school in Kenya. My father, being a mathematician, he thought it was such an embarrassment for his daughter to become a chef and cook in hotels. I should do business or something. And mind you, I hated school. I was just not a school person. So I continued, and the idea of cookbook came. In 2009, I started tasteoftanzania.com. Now, so when the idea of cookbook came, I decided to do research and to publish my own book. But then, when I started doing research, I realized that, there are so many books being published. In the United States, like 2010, they had over 300,000 books published. Some people say a million. So I was really scared because I wanted to be successful. At that time, also, I was working as a web developer at our electricity company in Arizona. That was my second job, actually. And I continued to do research, and I realized that only 1% of books make it to bookstores. Since also my master's was based on research, so this was such an easy job to do. I finished to write a book, even if I was very, very, very scared after I came to learn that the average of less than 300 books are sold per title. Still, the fear of being African was there, if I will ever sell a book. Even if for me, I was writing as a hobby and fun, at the same time, I was hoping to make some money, raise my daughter. As a very proud woman who decided I don't think I want to continue going to court to get child support. I'll do it on my own. So I finished to write a book, 2009. I wrote lots of letters to agents, literary agents. I received a lot of no's. Believe it or not, even if many people may not believe this, I cried many times every time I opened a letter that said no. I was like, why? But then I realized I cannot depend on them. I have to publish it on my own. So, and these are the books that I had to buy. I think this, yeah. I bought these books basically to help me. And one of the books, if anybody wants to write a book that's very, very, very important, is Writer's Market Deluxe Edition. It comes each year a new one. Now it's in market 2015. That is very, very important because this book shows you the list of all literary agents in the United States, in Europe, everywhere, you name it. It shows you list of publishers and it tells you how you can write to them. Some of the agents or publishers, they tell you, don't write us a letter. Some of them tells you, send us email only. Some of them send us a regular mail. So there's all these restrictions. So even if your book is good, you send to them, you don't follow their directions, they don't read anything. They're very strict because they get millions and millions of letters. So I had to buy these books. I come from work, and I read the books. This is the list I've put, this one is just few books. I have a whole library of books, how to write, how to publish, how everything. But I didn't take it serious because of my job. My job was to get as far as I want in IT. But then it was contradicting with my hobby. I love cooking so much. This is something I wanted to do since I was in high school. And also I should remind you, I was not allowed to cook in my house. My father didn't want to raise a regular girl. So that was a big thing for me. But finally I'm free, I can cook, and I can write a book. So one of the book asked me, gave me guidance of you have to write like 2 pages of what you want to write in your book. So I wrote 2 pages of all the chapters. If you see in my cookbook, you can also find it at Amazon. So I wrote the first content first. I want the first chapter to be this and this and this and this. And if anybody wants to write a book or either a novel, you can follow there number 1. And then I started writing 1 chapter at a time. At that time, I was still posting recipes on testoftanzania.com. And then I started Facebook as part of marketing because I realized I need to work hard to market myself. And many Tanzanians didn't take me as serious, but I knew what I was doing, so I took myself extremely serious. And then I got a professional review who reviewed my book. After that, I continued again writing a query letter. I needed to ask somebody to write for me a better letter to send to the agents because I thought maybe at first time my letter was refused because it was not good enough. And I was very, very right because a professional wrote to me for me a very good letter. I kept sending 2010, 2011, no luck. But this time I was not crying because I was already used to it. So I learned about publishing through the books I've listed there. I think you get information later through Dicotter. There's print on demand, which is very cheap. You don't need any money. They do everything for you. That's what many people are doing. And then there's offset printing. Offset printing basically is the type of printing that the traditional publishers like Penguin, they use. You can do it on your own. The quality of book is very good, but it's very expensive. So I went through different print-on-demand publishers. There's Blab, and then there's Lulu. I think many people here have been talking about Lulu. And Lulu is not a very good place to go. Because when I was writing, when I was saying I'm still looking for publisher, everybody was like, what's wrong with you? There are so many publishers. There's Lulu, there's what? So everybody thought I was not knowing what I was doing. The truth is, I knew what I was doing more than they could have ever guessed, because I did my research. Lulu will publish for you a book. Most of them are not as high quality. They may charge you money for marketing. I don't think they care much, to tell you the truth. And all this list I've put here. But at the end, I didn't have enough money. I used one of them. I used Abbott. I don't know if you've heard about Abbott. Yes. They seem a little bit promising. I contact them. I have this aggressive nature. So I call them and ask them questions and everything. They seem very promising. And I decided to use them. So 2012, they printed my first book. They sent me a copy, which was beautiful. I went crazy. I remember I recorded myself direct to Facebook. I don't know if many people have seen that video. I was so happy holding my first book. I was like, oh, my dad should have seen this. I mean, he saw it because he's in heaven, so I'm sure he saw it. But I was very, very happy. But as I looked at the quality of the book was extremely bad, very bad. The paper was just like the paper you buy at Office Depot. The pictures, the way they organized, everything was extremely bad. I called them. I said, don't print this book. I don't like the sample. Going back and forth, we're like, first of all, you should be glad of yourself, you know? Being an immigrant, you wrote this book, nice recipes. I'm like, you know, it doesn't mean because I'm an immigrant, I don't know the meaning of quality. And I told them, maybe I should tell you, I have masters in IT, I'm very smart. So I was like, oh. So they started to talk to me with a different language. And I told them, you have to repeat the book, you have to use this paper, in this way. That's the good thing of doing your research before you do anything, so that when somebody brings you a product, you know, this is good, this is right. And I spoke to the lady, I said, you know what, my father wrote a lot of books. There is no way I can embarrass my last name. I cannot sell this book to my fellow Tanzanians or anywhere, you know, and be disgraced. This is an embarrassment to myself, to my country. So either you repeat it the way I want or I want my money back, because I paid for editing. That's how they make money, actually. They don't make money selling your books. They know they will never sell your book. They make money out of you from editing, marketing, and all this crap that you do not need at all. They know they will only sell 2 books. Because they tell you marketing, they don't care. Marketing, they put a tiny little picture of your book in their big marketing book. Your book is the size of 1 inch, who will see it? So, after going back and forth, I said, okay, the contract is over. They said, no, you signed. There's an agreement. And you said, you're gonna agree. Time done. So, I refused. I realized, okay, I love this country, there's beauty of this country. If somebody says no, you don't just get scared. You hire a lawyer. So, thank goodness I was working with a very wealthy girl. I was like, you know, these people are giving me a headache. Can you help me? Hooked me up with one of his friends who was a very good lawyer in Arizona. It's fine, I've been struggling with them for 2 months to return my money and not to sell my book that they started at Amazon. When the lawyer called, within 2 hours, the lawyer said had a letter already at his desk, signed that they'll never continue. So please, use lawyers. You know, this habit of just complaining on the streets as we do in Tanzania, it doesn't work here. So after that, I started to realize now, how will I print my book? So I managed to go to self-publishing. I opened my own company, Milwaukee Publishing, and I followed all the rules as a regular publishing company, and I managed to come up with my book on my own. It's now found, you can get it at Amazon, and I came with Pilau Masala. It's a trademark of Taste of Tanzania, which is no longer because the products are sold off right now, so I'm rebranding. Apparently, according to my advisor, the Taste of Tanzania trademark is not very good in this country. So I'm working on a new product, expecting a lot of things from me and more books coming. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Julius Nyangoro. I am the author of the JK biography. The biography was published in 2010. I wrote the first version in English. I didn't have the courage to translate it, so I hired somebody else to do it for me. But my publisher thought it was clever to maintain the same cover. So what I have here is my original version, which is a political biography of Jakaya